Me too, bud. Me too. I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to shift gears, and we're going from single-player content to multiplayer content. It was released a couple of months ago at this point, but let's take a look at the multiplayer trailer. Welcome to Doombringer. Only the mighty shall prevail. Battle foes through different arenas. Conquer or be conquered. Doombringer, a high-octane FPS cavalcade for the distinguished gamer, the connoisseur's choice. Thanks,
for the
me,
distinguished gamer.
for the distinguished gamer. The connoisseur's choice, truly, Jaha, truly. What
You
other?
your eyes kind of light up whenever you get to listen to yourself. It's wonderful.
Moving on. Moving on. I'm just gonna.
But yeah, I mean, the beautiful thing is we're launching Doombringer, but we're already intimately familiar with Doombringer players, Doombringer maps, dual TDM. It's all part of the mix now, and it's the full package. I wasn't expecting to see things like awards and co-op and key HUDs and things like that, but the people behind this are they're pretty locked in upstairs.
Yeah, Reki, Christus, all the boys done a tremendous job, and we're now going to look at some of the really special features in Doombringer that's very unique for a game like this, and especially a game of this budget, of this size. It's amazing what he's done. So to talk to us about Netcode, Steam integration, and the Team HUD is me and Reki. And joining me to talk about various technical improvements in Doombringer is the maestro himself, Reki. Hello, Reki. How are you?
I'm good.
Lovely stuff. So very exciting. Steam integration is in. This means the game can pull information from your Steam profile, like your name and avatar, and then you can even have that avatar replace the player model in the bottom of the screen and on the scoreboard, of course, as you can see now. A lovely little quality of life feature. Reki, take us on a tour.
Yeah, so we have the dual scoreboard where you have the big avatars normally. You can replace those with Steam avatars. If you don't want to see Steam avatars, then you can turn that off. Same goes for Team Deathmatch and co-op as well. And all that also transfers over to spectators. So spectators can have the logo or the Steam avatar on the bottom of the screen, or scoreboard, or both, or neither, or whatever they want, which gives a little more flexibility for tournament running and that kind of thing.
Absolutely beautiful, and I understand there's more to come. So what's the future of Steam integration in Doombringer?
Yeah, so the potential for Steam Workshop support to support custom single-player content and mods is a very exciting thing that we'd like to look into. It's a little bit challenging because of licensing issues around the Quake engine, but it's something that we think we can do. So that's something to look for in the future.
Beautiful. Now, one of the things I've always been such a fan of in Doombringer is the spec HUD, which I still think, in spite of a couple of recent, pretty high-profile, substantial budget releases, I think that Doombringer still has the best spec experience in Arena FPS. Now, Reki, you've been working hard at improving the Team HUD. Let's take a look.
Yeah, so in this still from a co-op game, you can see above GMT's head, you have his best weapon, a little gear that spins to indicate how healthy he is, plus 2 health bars, one for armor, one for health, color-coded. And you can see what key cards he has and his name, of course, as well as in the top left, you have that same information displayed. Teammates can also ping locations, like in a lot of popular games recently, have come out with that feature. It's very nice. And you also have X-ray to see when people go behind corners for spectating. because that's really helpful. You can also see that for your teammates.
Yeah, a lot of fairly like modern or like you see these features in modern games more often, right?
Yeah.
Rather than these old games. And I understand, this is probably the first time it's been done in Dark Places.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, it is kind of surprising that other games don't have it, especially X-ray and pinging and things like that. You don't see it a lot in Arena FPS until very recently, and it's kind of puzzling. So that's why I decided to add it.
well, we're all very glad that you did. And yeah, the Team HUD, I mean, it's looking great, super well featured. I'm really excited about it. It's going to be great, of course, as a tournament organizer as well. But now we have to move on to what is the nuts and bolts of our conversation today. And that is the topic of netcode. Now, netcode has not always been Doombringer's strong suit, but that has changed because Reki, you've been hard at work on this for a while. We've a lot to cover here. Let's start with hit scan anti-lag.
Yeah. So in a year ago or so, when I was brought onto the Doombringer team, Doombringer still worked like Netquake, which is everything was delayed, aiming was delayed. It was just kind of a mess. It felt very antiquated. But you can see here, the top with the orange hitbox is with the anti-lag, where you'd have to aim. So they're effective hitbox for the client. And then on the bottom is without anti-lag, and that's where you'd have to aim. And people who play on high ping in older arena shooters are very familiar with this, having to lead your target,
Right.
depending on your ping. So it gets even worse with short strafes where people just are completely outside of the hitbox most of the time. So it's pretty much
Right.
impossible because you can't see the future how they're going to strafe. So it makes it really unfair to shoot at, as opposed to with anti-lag where they're always right in the middle of the hitbox.
Yeah, and that's such a big difference. And Doombringer, I'm going to say it, even on the launch stream, it's not the most popular game in the world. Sometimes we want to play cross server and we want to play across the ocean, and this makes that. I mean, it's not perfect. Obviously, there's nothing you can do about the laws of physics, but it's really damn good, and it's as good as any I've experienced in any game, indie or otherwise. So, huge credit to you for that. And
Yeah,
again,
thanks.
thanks for everyone that plays the game.
Yeah, it's been awesome seeing the game reach this point of playability. When it used to be, I mean, we had one US server, it was in Dallas, which has terrible routing to everywhere. So it was like, you're in the US, you have 60 ping, and that's the minimum. That's almost unplayable in Netquake. So here you can see in action, having to lead the target with these rail shots where you have to hit the blue box, which you can't see normally unless you're in developer mode. So
Right.
yeah, and then with anti-lag, you can aim right on the target. And this is 120 milliseconds, so pretty realistic US versus EU kind of ping setup.
Yeah, a world of difference. But we also, of course, have to talk about projectiles. And projectiles completely different challenge in certain ways, and the experience of lag is very different. So I understand here this is no anti-lag at all using the Gatling gun. You can
Yes.
see how far away that projectile is from where you're shooting, and some people they don't think it's as much of a problem as hit scan projectiles, but I think it can be really disorienting, as this is showing, and some footage in the future will as well.
Yeah, it's very annoying to have to, depending on your ping, you have to aim completely differently. Like it's completely unpredictable. So here we have with anti-lag, and you can see, despite being 120 milliseconds, there's no delay between where I am and where the projectile is coming out. It's not coming out behind me or anything like that, which means it's always consistent where to aim. There is a limit on both hit scan and projectile to make sure you don't get the thing that a lot of other popular just games has just been the way of doing it, where everything's client side, and you'll have someone on the server with 400 ping from Australia, and they'll be LGing you like 50 feet around a corner. So we want to avoid that because Doomer has always been a very good LAN experience where there's no delay, there's no getting shot around corners. So of course, that brings any kind of anti-lag brings in a little bit of potential, but the stricter the limits you put on, the more reasonable it is. So that's what we tried to do.
Yeah, and huge difference again there as well. And I think we have some more demonstrations of exactly what this is doing for Projectiles. We had some fun recording this the other day.
Yep.
You
jumping around.
trying to hit me here. I mean, good luck.
Yeah, so there's a 130 millisecond delay between when you see your gun shoot and when the rocket actually comes out, which is
Yeah.
rough to deal with, because it's coming out from your perspective more than a tenth of a second behind you. Whereas if you have anti-lag, that delay, it's very snappy. It goes down to a 30 millisecond delay between your shooting animation and the rocket, which is basically the same as it would be on land, because you have the engine doing some smoothing and other technical things happening in the background.
Things I could not possibly understand. But there we have it. Great features in Doombringer. The netcode is now best in class. The Steam integration, lovely quality of life feature, and the spec card continues to be the best in Arena FPS. Reki, thanks for talking to me. And now
Yeah, thanks for having me.
back to live me.